Welcome back. So it's October, and October means trying to watch 100 horror films in 31 days. That's the DVD Talk Forums competition, friendly competition that I participate in. So we're going to get started here. Really looking forward to trying to grind out 100 films this month. Now, the way this works, uh, technically the thing starts on September 30th, the night of the 30th. So instead of this being day one, I'm really covering the four films I watched the night of the 30th. And then tomorrow will be day one. So, anyway, the theme for the 30th was Criterion crossover because September on DVD Talk Forum they have a Criterion competition. So they picked the 30th to kind of cross over to horror. So here are some Criterions that I watched on the 30th. First up is 1983's Videodrome, David Cronenberg. I love this film. I think this film is relevant today, even more so with technology and how technology is taking over people's lives. I mean, really, you can't even look at anybody anymore on the street without seeing them an iPhone glued to their hand. I mean, we're just slaves now to technology. Of course, in this film, James Woods plays a TV producer who runs into this strange tape of basically torture porn is what it is, and it's basically a kind of a creative way to try to control people's minds, including James Woods specifically. It's got Debbie Harry in it. It's probably my favorite Cronenberg film, although I hear a lot of people say they have a hard time warming up to it. I really like it. I think it's my favorite. I mean, I like all of Cronenberg's films, but I think this one is my favorite. A lot of special features on this, which I've watched previously. I just watched the film this time. Next up is a film you're going to be shocked, probably shocked. I've never seen this before, and that's Eraserhead, 1977, David Lynch. Um, what can I say about this? It's a visual masterpiece, but it's really abstract. This was his debut film, and it's definitely bizarre. Um, it's subject to open to a wide interpretation. There's a lot of sexual overtones in it. There's a lot of just nonsensical things in it. But it appears to me kind of the overarching theme is, and for me, is uh, life in an over-industrialized world and how that affects people, including potentially, um, the effects of pollution, nuclear waste, um, the life in the urban society can be extremely hazardous to your health. I think that's one message that I took from it. The other is I think that David Lynch has a fear of fatherhood, and the people that have seen this film will know what I'm talking about. At any rate, this guy Nance plays this bizarre factory worker who's clearly got issues, and he's apparently afraid of fatherhood, but he ends up taking care of this mutant baby on his own because his girlfriend leaves him, and it's just a bizarre series of set pieces that are overlaid by a really interesting soundtrack. It's not music; it's just an industrial noise, a constant humming in the background, almost like it almost was like the sound from Alien. The sounds of the Nostromo when you're just walking around on the deck of the Nostromo. I mean, that's really what it was like for 90 minutes or however long the thing is. Very interesting film, but very, very strange, bizarre film. I can't say that it's a masterpiece. I think some people give this like a 10 out of 10. I give it a 7 out of 10. It's visually stunning and very interesting. Um, but I don't consider it really a masterpiece. I am looking forward to. There's like a 90-minute documentary on the making of the film. I'm interested in checking that out. And there's also a huge booklet that comes with this. All right. Next up is 1968, the classic Night of the Living Dead, Criterion. Beautiful print. I mean, I don't really need to even talk about this. It's a masterpiece. 10 out of 10. A tour de force for Dwayne Jones. A movie that set the tone and the genre of zombies on its path. And it's just a great movie. And it never gets old. I mean, no matter how many times you've seen it, it never gets old. Although, I will say this, and this is just me. This isn't a commentary on anything other than me, and maybe my personality. The same thing happened in this film that happened in watching Halloween, the original, which I've seen zillions of times as well. I start really kind of, I guess the only description is nitpicking. So in this one, and I had in a previous video talked about Halloween and breaking down Halloween into the more of the nitpick. Once you've seen a movie so many times, it's, at least for me, you really start dissecting it. In this one, so my nitpick moments is, of course, when they go to put gasoline in the truck. Naturally he's going to lay the torch towards near the rear tire where the gas valve is, and of course he's laying the torch towards it. I mean, you couldn't be any more obvious about what you're trying to do. And then of course the guy sees the torch laying there right next to where he's going to put the gas, but he still just throws gas everywhere. Just, I think some common sense. I realize what we're trying to do. It's obviously setting up a very key scene, but what person, common sense, would do that kind of thing, even if you are being chased by zombies? Now, if these zombies were moving like in 28 Days Later, maybe I'd be panicked enough to screw up like that. But these things are moving slower than, a snail. We can outwalk them. We would have to run. So I don't know why they, it achieves its aim. It's a beautiful movie. It's a great movie. There I am in nitpick mode. So there you have it. That's really the only nitpick moments that came out of the top of my skull watching this movie for the upteenth time. It's like, that just doesn't work anymore for me. There's a work print of the film on here, which I'm definitely going to check out. It's a beautiful print. Lots of special features and interviews. This is probably now the definitive release for Night of the Living Dead, at least from a picture quality standpoint. I haven't checked out all the special features, but definitely looking forward to that work print. And then finally, Creature from the Haunted Sea, Roger Corman produced, directed schlock, which is kind of a mismatch of spies and crime and a parody of Creature from the Black Lagoon, if you will. Dull, boringly, just brutally dull and slow-paced. It apparently was made in Puerto Rico right after Little Shop of Horrors, because the music is the same from Little Shop of Horrors. It's basically a crime movie posing as a monster movie. The monster interrupts kind of this hunt for gold between these two gangsters, and the monster basically is just there for laughs. And there are some kind of internally chuckling hee-haw moments, a couple that like this, one of the guys has kind of got a haircut like Mo Howard, and he does like a headbutts this guy. That was decent, mildly entertaining, but it's a horror comedy that is not very funny, quite honestly. But it was an early entry of Roger Corman's, and I'd never seen it, so thought I'd check it out. 3 out of 10, Creature from the Haunted Sea. And that's going to wrap up the day before day one of the 100 horror films in 31 days. Let me know if you've seen any of those films and what you think. Thanks for watching.